Having said that, from the point of view of the ratepayer, to hear disturbing news about wasteful expenditure and on the one side, minimal service delivery, the ratepayer is complaining that we're not getting, value for money in the rates we pay. And a lot of them are battling to make ends meet because of the high degree of unemployment. From a financial perspective, in a particular municipality, how do we react to the situation,
Sure.
Hassan?
The thing is, we can only continue firstly to raise our voices and continue to uh, highlight the issues that are noted. So I'll give you just mentioned the auditor general. One of the worst, one of the departments that has been particularly bad and noted again by the auditor general has been the Department of Water and Sanitation. If you look at over the last 5 years, irregular expenditure just in this department has been 3.7 billion rands.
And that is for the Tekwani water and
No,
sanitation.
the department. I mean, they're talking about just from a national perspective.
Right.
But the fact is, just one department over a few years, just irregular expenditure, fruitful and wasteful expenditure noted, 3.7 billion
Billion.
rands. That's a hell of a lot of money. Another thing to notice is, so I mean, you highlighted earlier about the spending on a 30 million rand
Debt.
debt, which apparently the services was done or not. We're not sure, but apparently it was done. But you're spending 20 million and then interest, they're charging 10% per annum interest of that. That's going to 23 million or it could potentially be more by the time they settle it. It's no sense is being used in terms of, weighing up the pros and the cons and managing the money properly. It's because there's the culture of, it's not our money. We can spend it and how we want, and we can use it. I mean, the other day we talked about the deputy president. I mean, that's highlight. I mean, it's across all the news in terms of travel, and it's not only the deputy president. It's becoming out in terms of we've become a nation where the public servants and particularly those high up, they love travel and they seem to spend very very nicely on the best that travel can afford on all taxpayers' expense. It's ridiculous amounts of money that is being spent when we have such a tight budget, and that's the biggest issue. Now, I come back again to the whole issue around municipalities and spending properly. Now, the president had put in place this Operation Vulindlela. They're doing work currently in terms of understanding money that's been spent from 2010 to 2024. So over the last 14 years, they've been looking at that. They've seen that revenue from property rates has increased by 91% over that 14 years. Service charges, so whether it's your refuse and those type of charges, has increased by 101% over that period. So revenue has increased quite substantially for the municipalities and the like over that period of time. SA cities they're looking at in particularly. Guess what though? There's been a 31% drop in spending on infrastructure during the last 14 years. 31% drop. Now imagine taking into account inflation and the like, how much more that thing has dropped. But 31% drop in infrastructure spending from 2010 to 2024. That's a massive decline. But staff costs has risen by 84% during that period of time. Now we look at it, our major cities are running out of cash. They've effectively becoming employment agencies when you look at it. So money is coming in terms of the revenue that's generated for rates and refuse and these things. And essentially speaking, they're just paying the biggest part of the bill is not just going towards the wage bill and the salary bill, but it's not going towards infrastructure. And that's the biggest issue we're facing. Now, we spoke about 2-3 weeks ago about Economist mentioned, we're going to reduce it from 16% to 13% increase. The fact is, inflation came out today, 2.8% annual inflation, CPI came out. And they're talking about 13% increases for certain, for whether it's refuse or sanitation, anywhere between 10 and 13%. That is 3, 4, 5 times more than what the annual CPI is. How can you justify that? You need to take hard decisions and cut certain parts of the wage force. That has to happen because it's an inefficient wage force that's being paid a bloated salary. And it's not only in the municipalities that's happening. Look at what happened in Transnet this past week. Government buckled in terms of the negotiations that happened with Transnet. They were pushing. Transnet said, we're going to go in with a strike. What happens with the strike? Now, they've agreed to a 6% per annum increase over the next 3 years. That's ridiculous. 6% per annum increase when we're sitting with a massive budget deficit. Our debt levels are at substantially high levels, but we've agreed to one of the state-owned enterprises, but that's been inefficient, that has cost this economy so much over the last number of years, but we've increased 6% per annum for the labor force there because we are concerned, we don't want to risk going to having an issue with the trade unions. Now, we need to be realistic in this year. We need to manage if it was a private sector company, and it's happening currently. Look at what's happening with Goodyear. Goodyear is looking to close down their plant that's been around for a number of years. Potentially 900 people will lose their jobs. But it's happening across many other private sectors where tough times they have to take tough decisions. But it's not being taken in the public sector employment, whether it's the municipalities, whether it's the state-owned enterprises. We have to take those decisions because, and more so because of the public enterprises, because our debt levels are unsustainable. Yep. You cannot keep on taxing people and tell the South African population out there that we're going to continue to increase taxes, whether it's VAT or other forms of taxes and indirect taxes that we're going to get. You need to take decisions. If it means that you have to cut the labor for a certain point, you have to cut it and get back to a level which is where there's productivity. One of the issues that the public sector has, why don't they want performance-based remuneration? That's an issue. If you want this increase of this, no problem. Achieve targets of volumes and productivity and the like, and you'll get that. They're not agreed to it. They want guaranteed. We cannot go on like this. It's unsustainable. And the problem is not us, but our future generations, our kids and our grandkids later on are going to be paying for this for years to come because of the unsustainable debt levels that we're facing.